Good morning. We are here in, where are we?
San Sadurni de Anoia.
Yeah, so basically Cava country. We're here to do wine tours all day. So that'll be fun, but right now we're headed to coffee.
Very important.
Yeah, very important. Our train ride here, not too bad.
Kyle slept.
I slept on it.
Observations of Spain, much more forested than what we've seen in the past in Italy and elsewhere. Very industrial, lots of like motor, I don't know what you call it.
Industrial.
Places to fix
We
cars
can't let her
or
talk
trains.
before coffee.
Yeah, I need
So we're
coffee.
off.
We'll be back.
Well, coffee was good and much needed. I think both more awake now. The sun's also come out, so that's pretty nice. Again, another 70 degrees sunny day here in Spain. About to start our first wine tour, and we'll also learn how to say it, so we'll update you once we learn how to say where we are going, but it's back there. Yes, you can see the big winery. Our first time, obviously, in Cava region, so Kelly picked some good ones that were really close to the train station, so walking distance is great. Did a lap around town. I'm sure you can see there's a market going on. Interestingly enough, there's just like storefronts, which are also wineries, just built into the town, so we'll probably try to explore at least one or two of those if we have some time to, but off to visit wine.
Here we go.
Alright, so that was really nice. Learned how to say it now. It's Friexenet. We actually do pronounce the T on the end, so it was a really nice experience. Got to go down into some of the old family cellars. Unfortunately, we didn't really get to see too much of the actual production, but got some good history. A lot of things about Cava and the grapes and different blends. Got to taste two. One which is kind of just their most normal, I would say Cava, aged 15 months, super translucent, like almost completely see-through, which was interesting and a good descriptor comparative to champagne or other wines. And a rosé. The rosé, I could frankly leave. It was okay. To me, it was very simple, very straightforward, probably good on a super hot day just to put down, or maybe something after dinner.
It was a crowd pleaser.
Yeah, it's a crowd pleaser. There wasn't too much to it, but we've got to head off to lunch, grabbing some quick Italian food before off to the next place.
I think the most interesting part of the tour was, one, we were 20 meters down in literal caves that they use to store their wine, and two, I learned to appreciate a non-vintage bubbly. I think, previously a non-vintage bubbly I would look at and think that it was something cheap, but they're actually really proud of those here, and that's how most of the wine is made.
Yeah, so off to lunch and more wine. Alright, well, after a very quick lunch and some very unexpected rain, we made the 20-minute walk to Codorniu. This is our second Cava producer of the day.
We made the walk in much less than 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Up the hill.
Unexpected rain, even radar says no rain, but here we are, so let's do it. right, so the second tour, I think, personally, was way better than the first one. I don't know, it wasn't more in depth, but they gave us a lot more opportunity to see kind of things, and they told a story that made sense. And honestly, the grounds were beautiful. So it was what, Codorniu? Is that how you say it?
Codorniu.
Codorniu, yes. So it's the largest Cava producer in the area, and you could tell, but at the same time, it was just stunningly beautiful. Like, the whole place was amazing. Finally it cleared up so we could see the mountains in the distance. Good Cava, blown away about how cheap it is. Like, seriously, like, it's like $19 for their Gran Reserva, the best one they have. So pretty neat, honestly. Great experience. I would do it again anytime, like, if something was at that caliber. What are your thoughts?
It looked a little like what I imagine a French chateau to look like. And in the caves that we went in, we actually got to ride a train around the caves. And the guide said that there were, on average, about 40 million bottles that circle through there every year. So that was just pretty incredible. The caves, he told us, if you spread them all out in a line straight, they would be about 30 kilometers long. And that's all where the wine is stored, made, filtered, aged, everything else. So 30 kilometers of just bottles of wine was pretty incredible.
Yeah, they did take us on a train, and seriously, it's like a complete maze down there. Like, you could tell at some time they just showed up and they're like, all right, I need more space, and they just like dug another tunnel and didn't care where it went. They just needed more space. So,
but then they named them, and they named them based on whichever direction they were pointing. So whether it was pointing toward Barcelona, they named it the Avenue of Barcelona, or if it was toward Tokyo, they named it the Avenue of Tokyo, or toward Montserrat, they named it Montserrat. So that was kind of nice that they at least look at the rest of the world and pull that into their own winery.
Yeah, so it was awesome. Really glad that we did it. Now we're going to head back to Barcelona. Need to pick Kelly up a new pair of shoes because we have killed these ones right here are dead. Too much walking. So pick up a new pair of shoes, and then we're heading to dinner at a place called Viana, which I've read is super famous. Not tapas style, like not what we've had the past 2 nights. A little bit more like standard dinner style. So looking forward to trying their food.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Hopefully some paella.
Yeah. All right. See ya. Good morning. So we didn't film last night after dinner. It was just a really interesting side of Barcelona that we hadn't seen yet. We had a really great dinner, though. It was very different than the first few nights that we had here. This was more traditional, like, you know, starter and then main dish meal, but it was really good. We started out with some jamon, of course. I feel like we've gotten that every night now, but it's just required. They brought the tomato bread. We had some potatoes bravas, which were very different than the first night. I don't know, they were a little bit, I think, spicier maybe.
Yeah, the sauce was different. It was more of an aioli than a mayonnaise-y sauce. So it was a little different.
So those were good. Kelly had beef cheeks with
sweet potato and aubergine.
Yeah, fancy stuff. I had a steak. The steak was unbelievable. It was like Argentinian beef, which I didn't know was a thing. But it was super reasonably priced for like a huge piece of meat. Yeah, it was a really good dinner, but we left there and just the vibe outside was just not good. Like, there were people, you know, hassling drugs, like bothering women. It was crowded. There were definitely a lot of intoxicated people. So we just beelined it back to the hotel. Not a fan of that. And we sat down to dinner at 9 and we finished like around 11, a little after 11. So super long dinner.
But there were still people getting seated as we were leaving, which was crazy.
Yeah, just seating for dinner at 11 o'clock.
There's still a line.
Yeah. So it was good, but we didn't feel comfortable like pulling out the phone at that time. We just headed back and called it a night. Spent this morning sleeping in. We've been on the go so much the first few days that we're just going to take today as a little bit of a relax. But
our light day was a 14-miler.
Yeah. So today taking it a little bit easier. So had breakfast at the hotel, left, got some coffee, did some planning for later this trip. And now we're just touring around the international expansion area of Barcelona. So they've got some cool fountains, water stuff, a big palace that's now an art museum that we're not going to go into because I don't think I really appreciate the finer things in life, such as art, as much as I should. And it's pretty expensive, and I don't know, just probably not our forte. So we're going to spend some time wandering outside.
It's also really crowded around here, not where we're sitting, but there's a car exhibition going on and clearly lots of people in the art museum, so just a little more crowded than we'd like to be around.
Yeah, so again, today's Sunday, gonna take it easy. We'll update you with some cool stuff that we see, but until then, see ya.
Adios.